Good evening and welcome to The Bloggers Magazine on I24 News, where we bring you both personal stories and social trends that offer a different perspective on Middle Eastern news. Today, we're going to do a special retrospective and take a look back at our past shows with a focus on music in the Middle East. Joining me in the studio is Mohamed Belmaaza, an avid blogger on geopolitics and Middle Eastern music. Thanks for coming, Mohamed.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do.
I'm from Morocco. I've been living there for 20 years, and then I moved to Paris. When I study and I work. I study in a business school. I work for a fashion company. And I came here to Israel for the first time since yesterday. So I'm discovering, and I'm really interested in Israeli Arab music, especially what we call Mizrahi music, and also the mixture of Arab and Israeli music.
And you speak Hebrew even.
קצת.
Where did you pick that up?
למדתי עברית בפריז כשהייתי...
I'm sorry, you'll have to speak English because not all of our viewers speak Hebrew, even though you do.
Sorry. I studied Hebrew in Paris in an organization that we call Parler en Paix, to speak in peace, where we teach Arabic and Hebrew. So I teach Arabic and I learn Hebrew, and for me it's really interesting and fun to learn that language.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Especially that I'm here, and it's really it helps me when I'm in taking the cab. And
yeah. All right, let's begin with a piece we did on one of Israel's most successful bands, Orphanland. The Israeli band, which formed in 1991, actually gave birth to a new genre of music called Oriental Metal. Despite their Israeli passports, some of their greatest fans come from countries like Syria and Egypt. In fact, in 2012, there was an online petition to award them the Nobel Prize for their commitment to spreading their music in the Arab world. Despite the bans on them, let's take a look.
A mosque, Christ, Moses. Orphanland plays on the symbols of the three great monotheistic religions. It is one of the most listened to metal bands in the Middle East.
We are Israelis, we are Jews, but people consider us to be the band who started the Oriental metal genre, and Egyptians, Syrians, they see us as their flag band as well.
Orphanland will be playing in Europe along Israeli Arab band Khalas. The tour is, in essence, a story of relationship between Kobi and Abed, the Khalas guitarist.
Met like 2004 in a radio station, and for me it was like, yeah, this is Orphanland. I can't believe that I'm meeting them, being a fan of Orphanland. So I met the guys. I gave them our first album, and the friendship started from there. Then through phone, then, you know, I visit Kobi in Jaffa. Kobi comes to Akka all the time. So he's now a brother.
Kobi, who is of Bulgarian Jewish origin, was born and grew up in the old city of Jaffa. Oriental music and the chant of the muezzin were part of the musical landscape of his youth.
In the silence of the early morning, it's like music that wakes you up. Often, in the songs of Orphanland, I try to sing like a muezzin. And the guy who lives opposite me receives a load of heavy metal smack in the face.
Khalas defines himself as a Palestinian metal band. His fans don't particularly like the idea of him playing alongside Israelis.
Together and musically, they are good for each other, professionally-wise. Politically,
Khalas even had to cancel a concert in Ramallah.
For them, it's a normalization with the occupation or whatever. It kind of hurts because this is the same people that used to listen to Khalas. Of course, it's a small amount of them, but still, it's the same people who know Khalas for 15 years, and now suddenly for them we are Zionists and Israelis, which is dumb.
This is not Orphanland's first experiment in brotherhood. In 2011, it toured Europe with Tunisian and Lebanese bands.
Every night on stage, we said to people, yeah, we are Muslims, we are Jews, we are Christians, but we have the biggest religion in the world, and that is music.
And when one asks Abed what he expects of the tour, he answers in true rocker style.
Well, first of all, we're going to hang out with, our best friends. That's the most important thing about it. Besides sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
So, Mohamed, why do you think this genre, this fusion of genres, started here in Israel?
I think it has its roots here in Israel because given the mixity of the Israeli society in terms of ethnicity, and then when I think of all the music genres that exist here in Israel, it's just amazing. And for me, it's really a laboratory of music, given the amount of people that came from several parts of the world. And and many times I consider the Israeli music for a lot of time as a political statement, because those people with those genres want to pay tribute first to their grandfathers, for instance, who left their homeland and came here. And the second thing is also to just represent their culture, their own culture.
Right. But and the fact that surprisingly to some extent, they're being accepted in Arab countries.
Yeah. For the simple reason is that many times music has proved to be a really good mean to express one's ideas beyond ideology. I think here we have...
but we don't see it with movies, for instance. You don't see Israeli films screened successfully in Egypt, but with music it works.
Because unfortunately in movies it's easier to find ideology. It's easier to find ideas of politics, of normal life. But in music, we would recognize we would feel comfortable with the rhythm. We would feel like here we have the collaboration with Arab singers. But now it's not only. I know many Israeli singers who have a lot of success outside of Israel, more than they have here.
Right.
I think it's really a matter of music and of rhythm especially.
Right. All right. From heavy metal, we move to a different music genre, rap. Middle Eastern Arab rap music first emerged in the 1990s in the Palestinian territories. More recently, with the Arab Spring movement, Arab rap has taken new forms and agendas, challenging the regimes and censorship policies of the region. Let's listen to what they have to say.
In Tunisia, it's no surprise that a rap website is called Liberate Tunisia. Anti-establishment rap contributed greatly to the Arab revolutions, mostly in Tunisia and Libya. This new, young form of political and ideological expression spread on social networks, promoting change. These are young rappers from El General, 17-year-old high school student who directly addressed President Ben Ali before the revolution, to Wed El 15, who sat in jail for insulting the police, to the Moroccan Mouad Belgawat, who was also arrested for his rap. They all share a common goal, an explicit or implicit call for change, for better politics and better lives. They dream of a just society, fair society, without police repression, corruption, or unemployment. Dreams shared by many youngsters around the world. In Tunisia, the word of the year is Khoumani, an Arab nickname derived from the word Khouma, defining a popular district. This song is more poetic than traditional protest rap. It paints Tunisian poverty in vivid colors. Khoumani quickly became a web phenomenon, with 5 million views on YouTube in just a couple of weeks. So poetry or protest rap, the music deals with every subject and everyone deals with it. Even women are timidly coming out to the stage. In Afghanistan, Susan Firouz, only 23 years old, but she's not afraid of threats, as she dares to denounce the abuse and rape and other forms of women victimization. The Arab Revolution deeply changed Arab rap essence in the profiles of singers who were once seen as gangsters, but are now considered modest messengers of the aspiration to a more democratic future.
Mohamed, I'm curious if you think this genre has changed or evolved since the Arab Spring began.
I think it evolved, but not in a way that people switch to it, but just that rappers, more and more rappers have more audience on internet and more legitimacy, because since the uprisings, we pay more attention to that kind of voice, and all the voices that speak about the who are against the system, against the, especially against the censorship, against the problems that we could see in economy, in all those have more legitimacy.
Do you think the establishment is more accepting now to rap?
The establishment is more obliged to accept that kind of thing. Like, I would give the example of a Tunisian rapper, El General. First, when the establishment heard of his songs, he didn't accept, and they wanted him jailed and everything. But once they saw how he was impacting the fools, how big his audience was, they started dealing with it differently. They realized, to do it differently. But today, I think there is still a lot of censorship, even if Tunisia. But we have it also with different kind of things, like in Egypt with Bassem Youssef, which is like the equivalent of Jon Stewart. And the establishment is not accepting. They really not accepting, but they have to deal with it differently.
You're right, right. Well, it's good to know that they know their place now.
Fortunately.
Moving on to a different medium. In the past decade, reality TV shows have taken over television sets all around the globe. Singing contests like American Idol and The Voice have had a profound impact on the music industry and in the way that new musicians and talents are being discovered. In our next piece, we take a look at how this relatively new phenomenon has made an impact in Afghanistan.
They are young people, teenagers in their 20s and 30s, and they all risk their lives every single day to sing on stage. In Afghanistan, after 30 years of Taliban reign, the pop culture is finally on air. The Taliban banned dance, music, and television back in 1996 because it goes against God. Music and TV restrictions were raised in 2004, and today in the new Islamic Republic, the rules have become more lenient and TV channels have multiplied and more shows aired. The Afghan Star organizers have one wish: to replace arms with music, a beautiful ambition that did not convince that many people at the beginning of the show. 1,000 candidates came to try their luck in 2005, and this was the winner. 11 million viewers watched the 11th season finale, more than a third of the 30 million living in Afghanistan. An exceptional number when considering that the majority of the population does not even own a television. The only screen in the village became the center of unprecedented gathering. The principle? It's the same as American Idol. They text a vote for the favorite candidate. For many of them, it's their first encounter with democracy. A real democracy, since the idol is elected by the people, for the people. Singing represents to many the embodiment of freedom. The freedom to express themselves, the freedom to exist, for all, even for women. That is right, women make no exception. Since the beginning of the show, 3 candidates were women. 2 of them were quarter-finalists, Lima and Sitara. But not everything is glittery in spotlights, because behind the scenes, the story is different. One of the candidates dare wiggle her hips, and now she is no longer welcome in her home village. Her life there might even be at risk. The others received death threats, even though she respected the modesty rules. She is now under the government protection. With the pop culture blooming, the Afghan Star is a way for the people to be freed.
This is still a new phenomenon in the region. How do you view it?
A new phenomenon, certainly in countries like Afghanistan, but I think in countries like in the Arab world, I don't think it's a new phenomenon. I think it's been there for at least 10 years. It has real impact, and I think the positive thing, even though I'm not really a real fan of that kind of shows, but the real positive impact that kind of shows have on in the Arab world is that it really brings together people from different cultures. We think of the Arab world as a unified nation, but it's really not. We have really different cultures, different way of thinking, and different also influences from abroad. And the fact that it brings people from Morocco, from Lebanon, from Syria, and also the fact that it represents new genres, it represents also new techniques and new ways of expressing ourselves. I think it's really, really interesting.
Any chance that we'll see an Israeli Arab on Arab Idol someday?
To be honest with you, I would love to see one day at least an Israeli Arab participating in that kind of show, because the Israeli Arabs today, they recognize themselves in that kind of music, in that kind of culture. So hopefully, yes.
Yeah. Now, I know you're an avid listener to Middle Eastern music. Any special recommendations you can share with us?
Yes, I have for you a very, very talented singer named Neta El Kayam, which is an Israeli singer. She sings mostly of Moroccan, because she's of Moroccan background, and she has been a few months ago to Morocco to sing for a festival, and I really recommend it.
We will look her up. Thank you so much, Mohamed, for coming in and sharing all of these interesting points with me. Thank you for watching as well, and join us again next week.